welcome to Going to IEU podcast. I'm your host Ida Nydelius, and I'm here today with Abdul Salam, an IE famous. He was priorly the student government president, and now he's here today to answer 50 questions. Hello, Abdul.
Hello, Ida. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Done with the semester, so quite relaxed. Doing my internship currently. A lot of fun. We have breakfast every Wednesday mornings. We had waffles today. Vegan waffles too.
Sounds luxurious. You tell me when you're ready for your 50 questions.
I'm ready when you are.
Let's hit it. So, what's your name?
My name's Abdul Salam.
How old are you?
22.
Where is home?
Home is where my heart is.
And where do you lived prior to Spain?
Netherlands.
Did you start in Segovia or started directly in Madrid?
I started in Segovia.
And where do you live now?
I live in Madrid, in Calle Montesquinza near Habanera. So I could go party every now and then.
Close and good. And how do you live?
I live with a roommate.
And how did you find the place to live?
Ooh, that was very last minute. After being rejected 5-6 apartments, just went, checked that apartment out. It was still kind of, they were fixing a few things, and we were like, all right, we're taking this, and we did.
An extra question. How did you find your place to live in Segovia? Was it easier or harder than Madrid?
Oh, much easier. I even had a discount from university. I stayed with Sweden Segovia, and they're amazing. So if you are planning to go to Segovia, check out Sweden Segovia. They're pretty amazing.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying dual business administration and data analytics and business analytics.
And what is the rationale behind your choice of degree?
I always wanted to do one or the other. And I gave me the opportunity of having both at the same time. And I want to start my own business in finance. So having the business side as well as data analytics fits perfectly with what I want to achieve.
So what did you want to be when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be airplane of an engineer because I used to say it the other way around. So I wanted to be actually an engineer. And then I wanted to be a pilot. But then I realized that it's mostly automated flying, which is not fun, and it led me to where I am and want to start my own startup in finance.
A quick turn from being a plane to have your own startup.
Yeah.
So what do you want to be in the future now? You already mentioned it, kind of.
Like I said, I want to be an entrepreneur, hopefully a sustainable billionaire. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll try to keep it ethical. Just trying to dream big and achieve something big since I was young.
Shooting for the stars.
Yeah, don't want to die an ordinary man.
So how did you find IE? Through an ad, student services, friend or family?
I found it through a friend of mine who was going to IE already. And he was a friend of mine from my boarding school in Netherlands. And he was here and he loved it. And he told me all about his experience. He was also doing a dual degree in BBA, BIR. And that is why I applied to IE. And that's how I found it.
So how would you explain IE in one sentence? And maybe how did he explain IE to you?
He didn't explain IE in one sentence, but how I would explain IE in one sentence, based on my experience, would be extravagant in a positive way and multi-dimensional in terms of perspective, culture, traditions, people. And
what is your favorite part of IE today?
In a sense of what I enjoy the most at the university. I think my favorite part of IE is campus life, for sure, because of the things they do and the activities they do and how homely they make IE. So definitely it has to be campus life.
And we're coming back to that later on too. And next question would be, what would be your biggest shock coming or being at IE?
So, like I mentioned, I started in Segovia, and when you get off on the Segovia train station, you feel like you're in the middle of a village somewhere. There's like cows in front of you and everything. That was a shock, and I was like, "What have I done?" So I was in a shock for at least a day of the choice I've made. But I think that's the biggest shock you'll probably get after coming to IE is the welcome you get in the countryside.
By the cows.
By the cows, yeah, and bit of heat. So it doesn't smell pleasant neither. So,
and maybe how did that change? An extra question there.
I think it changed right after I got more integrated within the community. So I was living in Segovia and I was living with, so we were 6, so I was living with 5 strangers and all of us were first years. And I think that was a good part is all of us were strangers, so we didn't have any prior connection. And I think that really helped us bond our friendship and start from scratch. And also getting involved in a lot of things in community. I started my first podcast in my first second semester, right around then. So that really helped me kind of get in and getting involved with student government early on, just being active, being a class rep from first year. So all of that and a lot of friendships, a lot of people that you get to know in the first year helps you out. And it wasn't a shock in a sense that, I regret it. It was just a one-time thing. When you were coming to university, you expect something spectacular, but it gets there eventually.
All right. So next question, let you elaborate a little bit more on this. So have you or are you engaged in any student clubs?
Right. So I was engaged in student clubs. I was engaged in the IE Thing podcast. I was also engaged with, it's not a club, but the responsibilities are more or less the same. I was engaged with the student government committees previously. I was advisor to the president. Before that, I was involved in academic committee. And then I became the president of the student government. So I've been involved off and on in a lot of things at IE.
And you can find the podcast in the same platforms as this one, I guess.
Yep, you can.
So you can check that out and hear more of you.
Yeah.
So question 18, how many clubs have you been active member in?
To be honest, I don't remember. Because, what you classify as active member is signing up on campus life or campus groups and everything. But I've been part of many clubs off and on, been there, been active. So I don't remember the top of my head how many, but it's been many. Field hockey is something we started in Segovia, and that is something I was part of as well, actively, besides the I Think podcast. Also been going and helping arts club, and those are the ones I remember on top of my head.
So which one is your favorite club at IE?
Art club.
Have you started a student club or initiative? If yes, what?
Like I mentioned, I started the I Think podcast back in the days in my first year, second semester, and the idea was for it to be a conference in Segovia because I felt there was a lack of conferences in Segovia. So we wanted to do that. However, COVID started and things had to pivot, and we went for the same idea that we had for the conference, was basically allowing people to have a learning environment outside the 4 walls of classroom. And we thought what we can do or what can we do with the same idea, and we naturally thought of podcasts because everyone can access it despite COVID, despite being in their own countries, and we went for it. So that was something that we started.
Maybe an extra question here too. What kind of topics are you talking about in your podcast?
Anything and everything. We have a podcast topic called Salad Bowl, which is basically we just sit down and talk about colloquial day-to-day things that students talk about. We talk about arts, we talk about business, we talk about different industries. So it's pretty much everything that you can think of.
So you already kind of answered this question as well. And that is, have you or are you engaged in any sports at IE? If yes, what?
I was engaged in field hockey, and I really want to get engaged in badminton. Unfortunately, this semester I had classes that ended at 9 p.m. on the exact same days that badminton was going on. But I'm going to start going to badminton now and in the coming semester.
And what is your proudest accomplishment at IE?
I think there's quite a few, but the biggest one is the day we won elections. It was the day before my birthday last year. So we won the elections the 23rd of March. My birthday was on the 24th. It was a perfect birthday present, I guess. And the other ones have been a couple of awards that I won in my competitions within the degree or within the school. And
what motivates you to work so hard?
I think it's the fact that I mentioned earlier is that I don't want to be an ordinary man. And when you have a side of what you want to be, you have no option but to work hard and kind of keep on going towards the goals that you have for yourself in your life. So I have a goal that I want to achieve at a certain point in life, and I think that keeps me going.
And question 24, like your birthday. What is one of the best memories from IE so far?
Right. I think the best memories that I've had is definitely in Segovia, because that was also prior to COVID, so things were a lot different, and it was just hanging out with friends and the ability to do and plan anything with anyone, being able to go to the hills or just going to Casa de la Moneda, which is a beautiful place in Segovia, which every student should check out. Or just hanging out on campus and playing football. And I think my first year was definitely the best memory. Not that the other years, are not amazing, but your first year was really different in a sense. We didn't have the pandemic, and we didn't have all the things associated with the pandemic. So I would say so that it was my first year, yeah.
So a combination of memories from first year would be your favorite one?
Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned Casa de Moneda, an extra question here. Would you like to explain what it is?
So Casa de Moneda is basically IE Creativity Center, which is about 10 minutes walk from the campus in Segovia. You take the walk by the river and you'll be there. It's a beautiful walk as well. And it's a beautiful place. Different clubs perform there. There's dancing club, there's the music club, there's arts club, there's film club. I don't know if there's any more additions to that, but I'm pretty sure there is. And they do a lot of events there as well. So it's definitely an amazing place. And you can just go and chill out if you don't want to be a part of any club. You could just enjoy the river and enjoy the atmosphere or enjoy the music that's being played. So it's a beautiful place to be, just to relax and get your mind off, or to focus and work.
So what was the last IE event you went to?
The last IE event I went to was the IE Day that was held on Saturday. I don't remember the exact date, but it was right after I finished my exams. And it was a beautiful event. The way it was organized, it was done in the tower for the first time as well, since the tower is new. We had a lot of activities, a lot of good food, a lot of good people. It was a pretty relaxing day, and I think it was pretty well done. So you should definitely go to IE Day. Another event that is really amazing and is coming up as well as Global Village. The theme is, and the way we're doing it is different than we used to do it prior to the pandemic, but I think it's still amazing. And it's the fact that what I mentioned about multidimensionality within IE that kind of comes together, and you can really experience and see different cultures and different people, and just enjoy what IE has to offer in terms of culture.
So I guess you're going.
Yes, I am.
And what is your favorite IE event then, if you have one?
Besides graduation, I would say the IE Day is definitely one of my favorite events. And IE Tower inauguration is also one of my favorite events, but that was just a one-time thing. So it cannot really classify as an IE event, which happens year on. And also the Clubs Award, they're my favorite event as well, because it's about celebration of people who have worked hard in nurturing an atmosphere of creativity and allowing people to take part in all the activities that they sponsored. So it's a good day to reward those people who have worked hard. On the other hand, IE Day is all about celebrating the 4 pillars of IE, celebrating the university itself and how far it has come.
And what is your favorite place in Segovia, Madrid, and the tower?
Besides my bed, which I love sleeping in, I think my favorite place in the tower is the 24th floor, which has a terrace. In Segovia, it has to be either Casa de la Moneda or the cave, and the patio you have by the cave. And what is the other one you mentioned?
In Madrid?
In Madrid. That's a good question. I think Parque del Oeste, or Templo de Bud, is my favorite place because it's quite relaxing. There's a lot of dogs. It's very green, and you can watch the sunset and bit of the southern part of the city from that higher point. You could also go running there in the morning.
You sound healthy. So what is your favorite restaurant in Segovia and in Madrid?
In Segovia, my favorite restaurant is... But I don't have a favorite restaurant in Segovia. I think I was pretty evenly divided into every place that Segovia had. But my favorite place to go to eat or grab a snack would be Grenier. It was because it was right across my house. It was quite easy. I could get any snack I wanted. And the other one was Plaza Mayor. Also had good food, and I enjoyed it. In Madrid, my favorite place is Benares. It's a Pakistani Indian, although it's an Indian restaurant, but it's also Pakistani because the food is pretty similar. It's a Pakistani Indian restaurant in near Genova, and it's Michelin star. It is fancy, but it's good to go once in a while, like for a birthday celebration or something special.
You feel like home?
Kinda, yeah. It's not as spicy as it is back home. I'm from Pakistan, disclaimer. So it's not as spicy as it is back home, but it's pretty close and the closest it has been to the flavor that I'm used to.
An extra question here. How do you like the food in Madrid?
As in like the Spanish food or food in general?
The food selection overall.
I think it's amazing. Compared to Segovia, obviously Segovia is a small town, so you have a limited selection. Although I had a favorite Indian restaurant in Segovia as well. It was called Taj Mahal. However, in Madrid, you just have a lot more options. Like you go to Hot Pot, and then there's churros place right next to it. You could go to an Indian restaurant, or you could go to a Spanish place. You could go to continent, like whatever you like. You could go to a place that serves brunch only. So definitely it's a city, right? So it's a bigger arena and it has a lot more options. So I love it from that aspect that it has a lot to offer in terms of food and everything else as well.
All right, moving on. So what is your favorite part of the day?
My favorite part of the day is the evening, because the temperature drops as well, especially in the summer and in winter as well, because the sun goes away. So the temperature drops and it's a bit breezy. In the winter, it's a bit colder than in the summer, obviously. But I like the evening because it is an atmosphere that is unparalleled to any other part of the day. And everyone is kind of free and relaxed. In general, the people are getting off their work, so they're slightly more happier. And just the atmosphere it brings to the entire city, I assume. I really like that part of the day, and just relaxing, maybe grabbing a coffee or grabbing a drink with my friends, or just going on a walk to a dog park that is really close to my house and seeing the dogs have fun in the evening breeze. So that has to be the favorite part of my day.
And what is your idea of a perfect day at IE then?
Right. So besides Sundays, I think the perfect idea of the perfect day at IE would be having classes in more towards the afternoon, because that allows me to be freer in the morning, go for a run, plan out my day, do a few things that I want to do for the day, and then come towards the afternoon, like around 12:1, get done with classes around 6, and that will allow you to also participate in any activity that is being held at IE, and it just allows you to stick around for a while and really enjoy. And I also think that is also the period where there's most people at IE, is at that afternoon block, so you can engage with a lot of people, interact with a lot of people in your lunch break or in the 10-20 minute break you get between classes. So I think that would definitely be my perfect idea of being at IE. And if you're in the tower, Wednesdays would be the best, because you have got Music Wednesdays at 6, so you can just tune in there after you're done with your classes.
And they serve free food and drinks there, I heard.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty good food. So what is a cause that you're passionate about?
Cause in what sense?
Good question. A cause in terms of like something that you're passionate about, like sustainability or being healthy or creating business for microfinance.
Mm-hmm. So, like I mentioned earlier, there are two things that I'm passionate about. One that I actively want to change, and one that I wish people change. Someone takes the idea and changes it. One of them is finance. I think it really needs to change and become more customer-centric. Finance, ever since it's been found, it has always been more about, well, not ever since it's been found, much later when it got a bit capitalistic. It has been more about making the profits and bank's own benefit and cross-selling products and like really juicing out the customer, whereas the main purpose of the bank is being an intermediary and giving you 3 lines: line of credit, line of loan, and a place where you can just keep your money, so line of saving. But the banks have kind of taken a off-road from that path while also providing it, which is not amazing in a sense that it's not customer centric. It doesn't serve the customer. It's more about making their own profits. So that is something I would like to change and make banking more centralized towards customer rather than big institutions and big families that have been controlling it. Other than that, I think education needs to really change with where we are at with the advancements of technology. For me, exams do not make sense. And I don't understand the concept of the way we do exams everywhere, whether in high school, in middle school, examinations such as IB, O levels, A levels, GCSEs, even at university level. The way we conduct examination and test, it just does not make sense. And the way we structure education in a sense of classes, in a sense of the syllabus, it needs something different. It needs more revolutionary ideas and making it more focused on tech. Not that now you do exams on a laptop instead of paper, but something different. And it needs to change, I think, because otherwise it's going to get outdated and people are going to focus more on dropping out and taking lessons on YouTube and doing whatever they wish to do.
So we will see you in finance and education in the future?
Very likely in finance, not so much in education.
We'll see about that. You seem passionate about that too. So, going down the memory lane, what is the best compliment you ever received?
That depends on what you define as best.
The one that touched you the most, maybe? That one you remember and always carry with you?
I think one of the ones that I remember the most is I was on exchange in the US, and my American history professor, I had to take American history, it's mandatory. Anyway, my American history professor told me in the last day of school that you're going to go places. And I think that really touched me. And I've got that exact compliment from quite a few people. So I think that is the one that's closest to my heart.
And an extra question here too. Where have you lived prior to Spain?
Prior to Spain, I've lived in the Netherlands and I've lived in the US in Southeast Ohio. I was in the Netherlands for 2 years and also in the US for about one and a half year on an exchange. And before that, I was in Pakistan. So I left Pakistan when I was 15 alone, went on an exchange to the US, lived there for about 1.5 years, and then went to the Netherlands, and now I'm here.
So at 22, you already lived in 4 countries?
Yep.
We'll see how many countries you will live in the future then, and see if your professor is right. Next question would be, who is the most inspirational professor or faculty at IE according to you?
I think for me, there's quite a few. One of them is Rafif Surur. She used to be my professor for probability and statistics in second year. Now she's the vice dean of HST. I think she's a phenomenal woman and an amazing professor, and she really takes care of the students and is just an amazing mentor to have by your side. The other one in terms of academics purely is Borja Mesa Sanchez. He's an amazing professor, so if you have him for any of the classes, you should really make the most out of it and enjoy it. And the third one would be Paulina. She teaches global economic environment. Also, the way she structures her classes and the way she is and the way she wants to help students and make sure that they learn more about the economic side than just prepare for the exams and that's it. I think that's really phenomenal, and she's an amazing professor.
So how would you define that in few words, why they are so inspirational to you?
Rafif, she's an amazing mentor. Borja, he's fun, and he can make a very technical subject a lot of fun. Paulina, she's an amazing academic, and the way she approaches the subject is quite nice.
So you're lucky to have those as teachers.
Yeah.
So question 34. Do you prefer being dressed up or comfy at university?
Depends on the day, depends on the mood, depends on the occasion. Last whole year, I tried to be more smart casual because I was also the president of student government, so I didn't know if I would be called into a meeting at some point during the day or if I had to go somewhere. So I would always dress in a sense that I would be presentable if I had to go somewhere. But I don't have a preference. It really depends on my mood and how I wake up.
So how are you dressed today?
I would say comfortable, smart casual, but more on the comfortable side.
Describe it.
It's a full sleeves black polo shirt. I wore it because it was just the first thing I saw. And I'm wearing olive green pants that are not tight, not loose. They're the perfect dimension, keeping me comfortable. and I wore them because I thought they'd go well with the black shirt that I'm wearing.
Stylish. Dropping the mic. So how would you define yourself here at IE in one sentence?
What do you mean by that?
Who are you in the IE community?
A student.
A student.
But I mean, in a one word, it's a bit difficult. I mean, definitely I am a student at IE community, but I would also consider myself, without being too obnoxious or pretentious, an asset, because I believe, due to my experience and the things I've been involved in, a lot of people feel comfortable approaching me to ask what they can do in different situations. So because of that, I think I would be somewhat of a minor asset to the university.
Do you believe everyone can be an asset within the community?
Definitely. It depends on their goals, depends on how and what they make out of the experience, and how involved they are.
Beautiful. So question 36. Would you prefer exchange or internship?
For me personally, I would prefer an internship or an exchange, because one, being here already is an exchange for me, and I want to focus more on getting in the field of work, or rather gaining experience of what I want to do in future, and that could be in any shape and form. I've also worked with the IE marketing, and one of the rationales that I had was, if I want to do my own business, I need to know how to work with marketing and how to market the idea, because it's all about marketing these days. So that allowed me to learn what are the crucial aspects and how you approach marketing an idea and a project. Currently, I'm working with Salonis as an intern in Academy, and I'm working with the not training the customers, but the platform that the customers train on and get the insights on and learn different things on. And I think that's important as well, is getting understanding of how you make a platform on which people can learn and get accustomed to the new product that you've thrown in the market.
So how did you find your internships?
Through LinkedIn.
Both of them?
The marketing internship, no. The marketing internship I found out because I was doing a video for dual degrees last year, and I met Mercedes, and I expressed my interest, and then I got it through that, and I'm glad they accepted me, because it was my first ever internship I've done, and I think it was the perfect ground for me to experiment. I had the perfect freedom, and I wasn't afraid of making mistakes because of the team that was there backing me and supporting me. And then the second one I found on LinkedIn, which was at Salonis.
An extra question here too. Do you think that your internship at the marketing helped you with Salonis?
I think, yeah, it did. Because a lot of things that I do right now are regarding content creation, very technical content creation, but still you need the content creation skill. And that is something I mentioned in my interview as well. And that is something they mentioned when I asked them why they selected me afterwards, is the experience that I had with marketing and content creation.
So question 38. What is your method to survive finals week?
Study. But planning ahead of time. You know when your finals are going to be, and you know the weeks you're going to be free. So I think at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance, try to read the chapters, try to make make hand notes. And I emphasize on hand notes because I've tried different methods of note taking, and making notes by hand defeats taking a note on iPad or your laptop or typing everything. It just helps you retain more. And I know it's not the most sustainable way, but it's the best way to learn. Or you could try Remarkable 2, which is a iPad-like device, and it feels like you're writing on paper. But still, I don't think even that beats taking notes on paper. Anyway, make summaries of the slides or of the chapters that you're being tested on at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance. So on the last day, the day before exam, you're not stressing out on studying. Rather, you're stressing out on revising and just going over. And when you take notes by hand, you will already retain a lot of information. So when you revisit, it'll be more of refreshing the terms that you more or less don't know, and a lot of it will stick to your memory.
So prepare.
Prepare.
And do you listen to music, or do you prefer silence while studying?
I prefer listening to music, not too loud, but not too low, just the right level.
The right level. And studying at home, at the uni, or at the cafe?
For me, studying at home is the best because I like to be kind of spread around or messy while studying. And I also like to just stand up and be able to eat or access whatever I want, so it feels cozier when I'm at home. And one of the tips that one of my professors gave while preparing for exams in IB was try to pick one spot where you study within the house or within wherever you study, because then your brain resonates that spot with learning or work, and that allows you to get in the gear of working and in the mindset of working, and that allows you to better retain whatever you're about to do. So I've picked one spot in the house where I work and study.
So I guess you're always prepared for your finals.
Sometimes. Not.
And question 41. What is your guilty pleasure?
Sleeping a lot. As much as I like to be productive, I love sleeping a lot. And also eating a lot. I love food.
Eating and sleeping a lot.
Yeah. Not the best combination, but if you have a fast metabolism, then I guess it works.
You're lucky. And question 42. Must visits around Madrid and Segovia. In or around, you decide.
Okay. I'll do both, in and around. Segovia, definitely Plaza Mayor, the cathedral, Alcazar, the hills that you have on both sides. So one of the hills is on the side of the Alcazar, the other hills are on the side of Casa de la Moneda. Then you could go go-karting. You could go to the river that is La Granja, slightly outside Madrid. Slightly outside Segovia. You could go there. You could also go for horseback riding around La Granja area, again, slightly outside Segovia. And you could also go to the mountain range if you are ambitious.
Into hiking, you mean?
Yeah.
And around Madrid?
Let's start outwards. So around Madrid, Toledo, because it's close by, and when you have that Metro card, you can go there for free. There's other place which I'm forgetting.
El Escorial?
Yeah. You could go to El Escorial as well. You could also go slightly north of Madrid if you want to hike. Then within Madrid, I mentioned already Parque del Oeste, Plaza Mayor, Matador is a new place I discovered, which is also pretty nice for cultural events. That is what I read. They do cultural events. They did San Isidoro there. It was amazing.
And what is San Isidoro? And what do you do there at the Matadero?
Yeah, that's a good question. San Isidoro, I had to Google what it is. And Matadero was basically a old slaughterhouse, which is now a cultural site. There was also an exhibition being held there when I went on Friday. San Isidoro is basically a festival celebrated in Madrid for San Isidoro, who is known to have done 500 miracles, 400 miracles. Yeah, that's all I know about it.
So as far as I know, this is the Saint of Madrid, and every year around 15th of May, they celebrate it with festivals and music, concert. What you mentioned in Matadero, there was a big concert, right?
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to next question. Is there something you wish you knew before starting at IE?
Something that I wish I knew before starting at IE is... I think I knew a lot about IE before starting because, like I mentioned, I had the friend who was already studying here. But something that I wish I knew before starting is the amount of opportunities it offers and amount of events that happen, because when you're coming here first year, you're kind of all over the place and there's a lot of events that IE does. So having known the good or the important events that one should go to would be amazing. And I think the current student government is working on creating a list of events that are must attend or recommended to attend by freshers who are coming in to IE University.
Do you have any recommendations there?
Try to go to as many events as possible because it depends. It's relative on person to person and what they might like. So as many as you want.
So moving on to next question then. What is your favorite Spanish food?
My favorite Spanish food is calamares, definitely, with a bit of salad, tomato, and a piece of bread. Not the sandwich calamares, but like just calamares. That's one of my favorites. The second favorite is gelaton, especially in the Basque region. with nice amount of salt and just really fresh and hot. It's really nice.
And what is that?
I really don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can.
Is it some kind of vegetable? Or?
Chuletown is okay. Yeah, chuletown is basically meat. It's beef. It's pieces of beef, steak, you can say. That, to my knowledge, are made overnight. Like it takes hours to prepare them, or to at least, prepare them or marinate them. And it's just basically done in salt. And it's super nice. Super simple, really nice. It can be super cheap or really expensive, depends on where you go. But the expensier, the better. And the third dish is definitely paella, but homemade. I've tried both. Homemade and not homemade paella, and definitely homemade paella beats the not homemade paella.
You make your own paella?
No, I had a friend of mine. Actually, I tried paella before even coming to Spain. I visited north of Spain, Saint Sebastian, when I was in the Netherlands with a friend of mine, and he's half Spanish, so we stayed at his place, and his parents made the paella for us before we embark on our trip to Spain.
And I guess the homemade is always the better one.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite Spanish holiday then?
All of them. The ones that are on Monday and Friday, because you get a day off. But besides that, I would say it would be the Three Kings. And I was there in a celebration when it was being held in Segovia. And there's just a massive parade with kids and elderly, starting from the aqueduct, goes all the way to Plaza Mayor. There's a lot of loud music and like a band, and there's like statues of three kings, and everyone is dressed up as kings or trying to be kings or something. But it's quite fun to watch because for some it could be just hilarious.
You know nothing about it, and you just come out on the street and there's a big parade.
Yeah, and for me it was even more convenient because I had my balcony towards the street that goes from Aqueduct to Plaza Mayor. So people who live in Segovia and live on that side where they can access the street, they just come on their balcony and you're part of the parade.
Sounds very cute. So next question is dinner party or a night out?
A dinner party or a night out? It depends on the day, it depends on the mood. Both are pretty good options, but it's relative.
It's relative, but which one would you prefer tonight?
A dinner party. Yeah.
And what kind of food?
Food is food.
Paella?
Something, I don't know. Like with food, it has to be closer to the time of the dinner, because then I know what I'm feeling like, what I want to eat.
What you're craving in that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Demanding. So we're coming almost to the end of the questions here. We are at question 47. Would you prefer eating at the cafeteria here at the uni or bringing your own food?
Bring my own food.
So what are you looking forward to right now?
Graduation, because I think I'm ready to kind of step into the working environment and start with my goals and dreams and ambitions. And I think like university is a lot of fun, and I have had a lot of fun here and I enjoy my time. But I also want to start getting in that element of my life.
So where do you see yourself after graduation, and where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I think after graduation, I would either be working in New York, Los Angeles, or Stockholm, because those are the ideal places to have a startup, and those are known as the startup hubs in the respective countries. So I would like to work there. Ideally, also, I wouldn't mind continuing with Salonis because they're growing really big, and a lot of people from companies like Google and Facebook are joining them. So it's an amazing fit for me. But I would only work for them for 2-3 more years and then go on to do my master's. And then in 10 years' time, I would ideally have my own startup going, and I would be in 10 years' time, I would be 32. But slightly prior to 10 years' time, I would like to be in Forbes 30 under 30.
High goals. And we are at the last question. What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is by Rumi. And the quote translates to that why do you crawl like ants on the ground when God has given you wings and you can fly? And it relates to realizing your own potential and thinking of yourself as someone who can achieve big things and can go beyond what you're at, and not being limited by your own thought and by your own mind jail. So kind of break free of that and try to achieve more and go bigger in life.
And this is the end of the episode 50 questions with Abdul Salam. Thank you so much for coming today. It was super nice for you to open up and share your memories and experience here.
Thank you for inviting me.